On today's episode of Titus and Tate, Kentucky basketball was already dead. Tate, they are now deader than dead.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know this
Right.
was possible. Now all that is left is basically for college basketball to parade Kentucky's corpse throughout the South for the next 2 months. I think that's
But are they
like the
still in
next.
the tournament? I think that's what a lot of people are asking. I think they're still in the tournament. They're still probably above an 8 seed. That's
What do
how
the
that
Bubble
works.
Boys say?
Yeah.
The Kentucky discussion has kind of already. We don't.
It's
we don't need
cratered.
to- yeah, it's great. We don't need to.
Mhm.
I don't want to spend too much time on it today. I'm sure we will. We can't resist.
Right.
We can't.
Right.
We can't. But what
College
I want.
basketball media can't resist.
Yeah, we can't resist
Everybody
it.
wants to talk
But
about
I
it.
want to do my best to not talk too much about Kentucky because we've had that conversation a million times now. What I do want to talk about today, awesome night of basketball on Wednesday. Alabama wins big at Arkansas. I have an update on Alabama that I want to share. Like it's a personal update. It's like
Okay.
if I was doing like tier talk, Alabama, I have new thoughts on Alabama.
You're
that I would
bumping them
like
up a
to- yeah,
tier,
I might be. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But,
I'm excited. I like Alabama.
I'm walking back a lot of things I've been saying about Alabama.
Well, people forget North Carolina drew with Alabama. One of the
Three
best,
times.
One of the best draws of the season.
Three
Yeah.
times, dude.
Right.
And then the
Right.
fourth overtime.
And up in every one of those,
Yeah.
periods.
I guess
after.
4 times regulation and then 3
Right.
overtimes.
Right.
Yeah. So if you think about it that way, it's like kind of.
I see 4. I think Final Four, maybe 2 Final Four teams.
Yeah. If every tie is a half of a win
Mhm.
and you drew 4 times,
Right.
that's 2 wins against Alabama.
Will someone show it to the quad guys? That's what I'm wondering.
Marquette beat UConn. The Huskies have now lost 3 of 4. Is it panic button time?
Yes.
And whoa.
Yes,
Take,
for me.
think about it.
For
Wow.
number
Wow.
1 UConn, I have to hit the button.
Texas had a big comeback against TCU. Duke beats Pitt and Durham. What does this mean for the Mr. K successor power rankings?
I had the tweet ready.
All right. Also, since we last did a show, I'm working on the thesis that Allen Fieldhouse is a tough place to win in because Kansas down 10 late against Oklahoma rallies back to win. This Kansas team continues to be hilarious. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. Speaking of not being able to win in certain buildings, your Tar Heels. I didn't realize you guys just simply cannot win in Charlottesville, huh?
Right. But when you lose the ACC Player of the Year, Armando Bacot, in the first minute, you have an excuse, but still they could have won the game, which is inexcusable.
I'm so fired up to talk about Jalen Washington with you. I can't wait
Right.
to
You're
get to that
excited. Gary,
discussion.
Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana boy. Don't look now. Michigan State is red hot. Also, Indiana is not. We are going to do good guy. We are going to do bad guy. We are going to do what else we got? Kyle's guy.
Cal's guy. Oh, Cal's guy. My goodness.
Tony guy. All that
Right.
kind of stuff. Fraud power rankings. Jam-packed show coming up. But first,
Woody Durham.
all right, super fun day and super fun night, I should say, in college basketball last night on Wednesday. One of those nights they were I found myself, I was so fired up for that 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific for us out here on the West Coast. It
Right.
does suck. It does. I love living on the West Coast when there's like a college football national championship game.
NFL football starting at 10 a.m. Yeah.
You get done watching Sunday night football, then you can watch a movie before bed or something. You know, like that works out
TV
really
show,
well.
whatever you want.
It does suck immensely when the 4 o'clock slate is jam packed, and you know, I can't eat dinner because I'm parked my ass on the couch watching basketball. But it was one of those nights where I was going into it saying, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to watch all these games. We're going to talk about them tomorrow. What ended up happening is I tried to watch all of them. I ended up watching like none of them, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
you
I'm
end
just
up
like flipping
watching
back and
bits and
around.
pieces, and you feel like you miss very critical moments. And I weirdly, when I watched Duke and Pittsburgh was on fire.
Yeah.
And I would change the channel.
So
And
you're
then,
like,
and
you're
then I'm
prepping
like,
your
it's all
notes.
me.
You're
and then
prepping your notes for the show, and you're like, Duke sucks.
Yeah, right. I'm like, get John Shire out of here. Jeff Capel take over. Jeff Capel's such a bag man that Nike's a band. He has a kid named Nike on his team. All these things. You switch it over. Now you're watching Marquette, Connecticut. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Shaka Smart. Is this man smart? Yes, he's a genius. And it all gets just, the waters get
Xavier
muddy.
Creighton, you're like, I told you Creighton's not
Right.
dead. Creighton is
Creighton is good.
Shit, Creighton lost. Never mind.
Right. Again. But then you change the channel and it's like 2.4 seconds and Creighton's cut it to 2 again, you know?
Yeah.
It was a whole lot of that. And then Alabama, Arkansas, I'm not going to lie.
That was the game I watched most of.
Right,
Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was the right decision as it all played out.
My update is this. my instincts tell me not to do this, not to feel this way, but I can't resist it anymore. I'm all in on Alabama. I love
How could you
Alabama
not be?
because they turn because
Alabama is my team, famously. Brandon Miller
you
wouldn't
said
watch
this.
this.
You said that
Number
you were
one.
early on Alabama
Uh,
even before, Carolina played, or was it after Carolina
it was
played them?
after, of
Okay,
course.
alright, alright.
What do you mean?
But I remember you saying you telling me that this Bama team's better than,
Right.
is the best Nate Oates team,
I
which
just
Nate
said the
Oates hasn't been
freshmen
there
are
long, but
actually good, because we
yeah.
see a lot of freshmen that are not good, and they are actually good.
I thought this like, the early vibes I had on this team were that they were gonna be better than last year, certainly, but, the Herb Jones team, they're not gonna be better than that team.
Mhm.
They're not gonna play good enough defense. They're too young. They turn the ball over like crazy. That was driving me insane watching Alabama, especially the Carolina game, the Gonzaga game. Um, I just couldn't get there to like, I'm going to trust this team in March, and I know it's very stupid to say this now because, I
It's January,
it's
but it's
but
part of the business.
our
The
our
people
guy
want Alabama
our
takes.
guy Casey Jacobson here at Fox loves saying,
Mhm.
how does he say it? You can't paint a masterpiece without spilling a little paint. I think that's that's how he says it. Yeah.
Love
Um,
that. You
that's how
can't
that's
you
where
can't win games when you lose games. I
yeah.
mean,
Well, that's how I feel about Alabama now. Like I've come around on. I'm like, yeah, they turn the ball over a lot, but like sometimes they don't. And then ultimately, when I think about their dumb turnovers, they're just trying to make plays out there. They're just kids trying to make plays. Tate, you know what I
right.
mean? That so I can't. Ultimately, at the end of the day, with this team, they have so many playmakers. They have so much length. Like you're watching the Houston game, and Houston is slightly undersized. If we're being completely honest, I think they're going to be fine. I still think they're the best team in college basketball. But when Alabama played Houston, it just jumps off the screen at you how long Alabama is. When you're going up a team that doesn't have, 7-foot wingspan seemingly at every position. So you see Alabama out on the floor and you're like, this is bonkers. It's Mark Sears and
Mhm.
4 guys with a 7-foot wingspan out on the floor. And they got they're so freaking good, dude. And I talk myself out of them because they're young and they turn the ball over, but they didn't turn the ball over a lot against Arkansas.
Right.
So, I mean, if they can take care of the ball.
And they're the same age as some of these guys on Arkansas who are also young, like an Anthony Black, who I thought would have a better game in this game. He ended up fouling out, I believe, but there was some frustration.
I'm giving Anthony Black the Maui treatment as well. He's in the same Creighton lump as me where it's
Right.
like,
I will not believe that he's not good.
yeah, I've watched him in Maui and he was
Mhm.
awesome. So therefore,
He is awesome.
he is awesome. I
Right.
don't care what else.
Like for NBA
Yeah.
scouts, he is awesome.
He's my
100%.
yeah, he's an NBA dark horse. He's a first round lottery pick dark horse for me.
You remember
For sure.
Sears, like the store, like Sears Tower,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Sears has everything. And that's what I was watching Alabama. And I'm like, Mark Sears has
That's
everything.
right.
He has everything. He has everything you need to go deep in March to make a run. And Nate Oates seems to know it. And,
Yeah.
and if you're Texas and you're watching that game, you're saying first option Nate Oates, second option Eric Musselman.
You
That
know
was
who
the
else?
tears.
You know who else knows it is my guy Jeff Bowles, who is the head coach at Ohio, who had Mark Sears and Ben Vanderplas on his team last
Right.
year, and both of them transferred. And
And said, thank you, coach, for the
thank,
opportunity.
thank you, coach.
You made
And,
this possible.
And they did an exit interview, and Bowles was like, "Just like explain to me what did I do wrong? How could I keep you? What could I have done differently?" And they were like, "Not be the coach at Ohio." If you were the coach at
If you're the coach at Virginia or Alabama, I would love to play for you,
I would love to
coach.
stay
I would go to
here.
war.
No, you're right, man. That Mark said like the idea that they can bring Quinterly off the bench and Quinterly played what 11 minutes in this game, and I know
Right.
Javon Quinterly is not it, but Javon Quinterly does have pedigree, and that
He also
he's
has
a 5-star
insurance
guy, and
policy
he's
written all over him. Like,
yeah.
let's say Sears is in a second round game. Things are getting a little snowballish. Things are going bad. He can step in and be good.
I know there are a lot
Maybe.
of people that follow college basketball closely know who Javon Quinterly is and are saying if he's if you're counting on that man, your team's not going to go far. But that's if this man is your starting point guard, your playmaker,
Yeah.
you're building the team around him. If he's this role in Alabama, oh my God, what a luxury, right? To have a
Right.
guy that
Right. Have a
against
5-star.
Arkansas, he plays
Play
11 minutes, and
Yeah.
you're not even asking. All you're really asking him to do is not throw the ball all over the gym, which half the time he will do. But yeah, I mean, this is a perfect. I mean, he has 4 fouls in 11 minutes and 3 turnovers against Arkansas. I'm not saying he played well. I'm speaking to the depth of this Alabama team that you have a guy like Javon Quinterly who he's on in any other team. I don't know. Like, he's on a lot of teams.
He
He's the
could
best.
start on a lot of
Yeah,
teams.
he would start on a lot of
Right.
teams. And in Alabama, they're like, if we're getting bad Javon Quinterly, we're just going to throw his ass on the bench and let
Right.
Mark Sears run the show. It's incredible. I
Good
don't
for
know.
Nate Oates, and I'm
Good for
happy
Nate
for
Oates.
Alabama. It was a nice messaging for the SEC that Alabama might be the class of the SEC. And
That
like
Bama, Tennessee, because I guess that's where I'm at with Bama is like I feel like the SEC is a two-horse race.
Mhm.
I think that's pretty obvious at this point, Bama and Tennessee. But I felt like Tennessee's in the driver's seat and Bama. There's a world where Bama can win the SEC, but boy, it's going to be tough. Now I don't know, man. Now I think Bama might be. I don't know.
Legit.
I'm gonna flip flop on Bama and Tennessee.
Right. I saw Kevin O'Connor tweeting about Noah Clowney, and I said to myself, "Oh no, Bama, they have reached the NBA people. You know, like the
Yeah,
NBA people are going to get
but is
in
that
the."
good for Bama?
No, I think that's bad.
Yeah,
This is the whole Drew Hanlon
yeah.
conversation with Caleb Love. When you have an NBA trainer telling you that you need to have the ball in your hands, you need to do this, you need to do that. They're telling Brandon Miller he should be bringing the ball up. These are the things that happen. Keep the NBA mafia away from Alabama, and I think we're okay.
Bama and Tennessee only play once this year. It's February 15th at Tennessee.
Mm.
So
Happy Valentine's Day.
Tennessee's gonna win that game.
Tennessee's going to
Um,
win the SEC,
Tennessee's
in
gonna
my
win.
opinion.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think Tennessee's gonna win the SEC, but I'm gonna talk myself into
But
Bama.
Bama's going to the Final Four.
Yeah, going to the I don't know, dude.
That's what I see.
I like
If
this
I
Tennessee
close my
team,
eyes,
though.
I see Tennessee, they're SEC champs. They're saying we're the class of the SEC. Screw you, Kentucky. And then Alabama goes to the Final Four, and they say not so fast. We are
Yeah.
actually the real class in the real tournament. We matter. Those are the two paths in front of me. Because like we said, Rick Barnes. Can we trust Rick Barnes? We don't know. Maybe this year. But I see Bama. Bama has a path.
Yeah.
But again, NBA Mafia, stay away.
I agree with you on that. That makes the most sense to me as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Nate
Yeah.
Oates.
I don't
And
know.
Nate Oates needs that Final Four.
Before he goes to
Before
Texas.
he goes-
Because he's not getting to Texas. So get it now, Nate.
Shaka Smart. Shaka's like, I had to get it at VCU
Yeah.
because I was not going to get it.
You're not gonna get it at Texas. What other you said you're hitting the panic button on UConn?
I mean,
Three not bad losses, dude. I think
I'm hitting the
schedule
panic.
losses, right?
I famously said on the show not too long ago, I think it was 2 episodes ago, that UConn was still number 1 in my mind, and I'm pressing the panic button on that.
That's what
UConn is not number 1.
Well,
but that's okay.
The thing about UConn is Purdue was in this camp too when Purdue lost, and I said maybe we pump the brakes on say national title or bust, and then Purdue fans said, "What? Why
Mhm.
would we do that?"
Mhm.
And then I said, "All right, it's your
Have-
funeral.
have your
at
fun.
it.
Have your fun."
All right, fine. National title or bust." It's UConn's gone through the similar roller coaster of this team was not expected to be, a Final Four caliber team. Not that they were going to be bad, but there was just a lot of unknowns, a lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
They start the season incredible. They beat Alabama by 15. People forget on a neutral court. They blew out Iowa State. They have really impressive wins. We've seen this team look really awesome. So rightfully so, the expectations are through the roof. And then now when water finds its level a little bit, it feels like it's a disappointment. It feels like when I say the
Mhm.
words, are we hitting the panic button on UConn? If you're a UConn fan who sees like the bigger picture, you're like, that is absolutely absurd. Like last night,
Right.
I did the players only meeting.
It's that time of year.
Yeah, it's players only meeting time. I threw UConn in with Kentucky and Indiana, and West Virginia's lost a lot. Some
Mhm.
Virginia Tech fans were like, "What about us?" And I was like, "Man, Virginia Tech looks so bad that I even forgot that you guys
Hunter
once upon a
Couture's
time
out,
were
though.
good."
Hunter Couture's out.
Villanova fans, same thing. They're like, "What about us?" And I was
Mhm.
like, with all due respect, I think
I like Cam Whitmore's
yeah,
game.
yeah.
I like Cam Whitmore. I think he's good.
But like I'm not lumping UConn in with those teams as to say like they're all equally as good as each other. What I'm saying is for Indiana, you're hitting the panic button because you're saying we might not make the tournament at this rate. We're at the
Mhm.
bottom of the Big Ten for a team that was picked to win the Big Ten, for a team that coming into the season was supposed to be the only team that could win the national championship, and now you're gonna have to fight to not have to play on the Tuesday morning of
Right.
the Big Ten tournament.
You might be in Dayton again.
Yeah.
And that might be a
Or
best case
yeah.
scenario.
With UConn, the panic button is not that. UConn is going to make the tournament, obviously. They're going to be
Mhm.
a top seed, obviously. The panic button is, are they still a national title contender? And I think I agree with you. I'm hitting the panic button on that. That like the idea that UConn is one of the very best teams in this country, like one of the top 3, 4 wherever you wanna draw the line. I don't know if I can get there. I don't know if I don't if you told me that UConn, it's Final Four or bust, I'd be like, "Yikes." Might
Right.
be a bust.
And I know
It
Marquette
might be a
is
bust.
yeah, it might be a bust. Marquette at Marquette is a very tough game. At Xavier is a very tough game. You have Creighton at
At
home.
Providence,
Yeah,
like,
at
these are
Providence.
all
These
these
are
are all
all really, really tough games, but at some point, you gotta win, you know? You gotta win, and even the Creighton game, when they had Creighton at home, after the game, all the guy like Jordan Hawkins I saw he was talking about Creighton, he said, "We just beat a top 10 team." I agree, Jordan Hawkins.
Jordan Hawkins, we agree with you.
Jordan Hawkins.
Creighton is a top 10 team.
I
They
see
are
what
by
you're
far
saying.
the best 8-loss team in the country, by far.
But to me, it just speaks to they're a lot closer together. We thought UConn might be a step above. They might be a class above. I think they're more closely together and more closer to the pack than I originally thought. So that's all we're saying.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Final Four, they can make the Final Four.
Yes,
They can make the
they
Final
can make
Four.
the Final Four.
It's the national title I'm worried
That
about
I'm
now.
worried
I'm
about. That might
officially
be
that's
the
the panic button. Never mind.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm not panicking on Final Four. I'm panicking on, is this team good enough to win a national championship? I don't know.
And
I
can
just
this
think
team beat Creighton in the Big East championship in Madison Square Garden in the tournament? That's what I want to see because I know Creighton's going to be there. That's what they're readying up for. So
I just it does worry me that they got the Purdue of last year's situation going on where two of your best players are big dudes and Klingon, as great as he is, like
20-10.
you can't play him and Sonogo together.
Right.
So it's cool that you can bring this guy off the bench and he can. It has that feel of it just like when UConn is winning, the story with UConn is that they're relentless and they wear you down because as soon as you think you're done with Sonogo and he's tired, needs a breather, they bring Klingon off the bench and you're like, damn it, bring Sonogo back when Klingon's playing well, But then when UConn's losing, you're saying this is they'll never get any rhythm going when you have to,
Right.
two of your better players can't play on the floor together and like the Xavier game, I think Klingon, I forget how much he played, but he wasn't getting a ton of burn in that game. And that's frustrating. They're going to have that problem all season. I also I don't know if I trust but I don't know who I trusted. You're the bigs in college basketball, right? Like I don't know. I watch a lot of these teams and like playmakers on the perimeter are at a premium, I guess. And I guess that's why like Alabama seeing a guy like Mark Sears does get you excited because Tristan Newton's not that guy for UConn. And
Right.
I love Andre Jackson. I love Jordan Hawkins. Tristan Newton's a very good player, but you want Tristan Newton to kind of be a sidekick, and you want, yeah, I don't know. They need a guy that
He was at ECU, I mean, he's coming up to the big leagues. I think he's had some nice moments. I still like him, but like you said, I wish they had another guy. I wish they had that quintessential UConn
that
guard.
Quintessential 10 seconds on the shot clock. He has the ball and he's
Right.
waving everyone
Crossover,
off. Yeah,
get away.
He's waving everyone off. He's like just 1-4 flat.
Right.
Everybody get to the
Right. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Derrick Rose in high school. Derrick Rose, like, get out of the way.
Out of the way. Yeah. And they don't have that, So I do worry about that, but you kind of can make the Final Four. I'm not panicking.
All right.
I'm panicking on national title. They are not in a class of their own anymore, pretty clearly.
And they were at one point, or so
Yeah.
we thought. So, congratulations for that. Hang the banner, but we move on. UConn, you are where you are right now. Can we get to good guy, bad guy?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
No. I appreciate all of the lead up talk, but I feel like we're going to jump right into it. Good guy of the week is a guy that once upon a time, I think a lot of people, or at least, in my universe would say that he was a bad guy. He was trying to create his own version of Duke. The FBI sniffed around, mentioned him in the report. Never really had anything much come of it, but good guy of the week is Greg McDermott. And,
Whoa.
like I said, a lot of people thought once upon a time he was a bad guy, but this year he is unequivocally a good guy because after starting out the season 9-8, people forget the Miami Heat with LeBron James in his first year. They started out 9-8 as well. So the season's not over.
Whoa.
Season's not over. I still think Creighton could rip 10 straight wins. I'm not afraid to say it. Shot quality, shout out to Shot Quality, the Twitter account that keeps up with the shot quality in games. They say Creighton's the best team when it comes to creating good shots. That's what they do. That's Greg McDermott's mantra. He's like, let it fly. If we get the best shots, we're going to win 9 times out of 10. That's how we play basketball.
Is that like the stat that I saw after the USA Netherlands?
I'm trying to find any stat that says Creighton is legit.
The USA Netherlands game, someone's algorithm was like the expected goals were actually 1.8 for the USA to 1.75 for Netherlands. So actually, if you think about it,
we won.
We won, we just didn't make shots.
Yeah,
That's
by
all
the
it was.
numbers, we were the better team. Everybody saw it. Get over it. But Greg McDermott, this is not after last night's loss, but this is on January 7th. He was asked about the season, how things were going. He basically used the Mark Titus maxim, we got to make shots. That is it. It's a make or miss league. We all know that. But he said the goal of basketball is to make them take the worst shots you can and for your team to get as good of a shot as you can, right? It's not about actually making the shots. It's not about the points. It's about actually getting quality shots. So Creighton right now is playing the moral victory game. They are actually a lot better. You and I agree with this. We saw it in person. They do have one of the best starting fives. They can't handle ball pressure. They also, in these games, seem to fall and collapse for minutes at a time and let teams go on run.
Yeah.
And then they become themselves again, snap back out of it. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know what it is. But games that have been decided by 5 points or less, Creighton is 1-5 this season. Kalkbrenner missed 3 games out of their 6-game losing streak. So I give them a little bit of a reprieve there. But also, in general, Greg McDermott, it seems like we're playing moral victories. It seems like that is where we are with Creighton basketball. And that is why he's a good guy, because he's saying we're doing all we can. We're playing good basketball. We're getting the shots that we like. They're just not falling. That is a good guy argument. That is a good guy predicament. And I'm hoping that the Creighton Blue Jays get it together. But Greg McDermott, good guy of the week.
Creighton is, according to KennethPomeroy.com.
What, it's 17th?
They're 19th right now, but
they were 17th going into the game against Xavier, who was 18th.
Speaking of Kenneth Pomeroy, he's trolling me at this point because the Buckeyes, as of right now, are number 10.
Love that.
We just lost 2 games in a row.
Kim Pom Darlings.
We just keep climbing up.
Right. He's like, love this team. Look at these shots they're creating. Look at the shot creation. Bryce Sensabaugh, best freshman in the country.
Creighton is 19th, but the luck, the only reason I know about this luck algorithm is because of Maryland was first to it. I think the 2015, 16, somewhere in that range, Maryland era of basketball. Maryland fans hated that they were considered lucky.
Right.
Per this algorithm. And then now it's Providence fans that are fired up about
I think wasn't it the year before they were ranked preseason number 2 that it was really lucky?
Yeah.
And then they came in the next year with Mello Trimble, and then it all kind of fell apart. Yeah.
Creighton, according to the luck algorithm, is 361st out of 363 teams in the country. They are one of the most. Stanford is last, by the way. So Stanford's the unluckiest team in the country.
Checks out. If you've watched Stanford, it seems very unlucky. It feels very.
Idaho State is second, and Creighton is the 3rd most unlucky team. Dude, Washington State's 4th. California's on in the top. I'm not going to count through them all. A lot of Pac-12 teams on here. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the brand in the Pac-12. We're not bad. We're just unlucky.
Right.
But yeah, Creighton is to back up your point. They're playing great basketball. We know what we see. Our eye test says Creighton's a good team. They just can't win basketball games. And for some people that matters, For some people they're like, you have to win the games for us to care. Not Tate and I in this case.
Right. And I respect the Blue Jays and I respect their fans, and they told me they're going to go to the Final Four this year. And I have not given up all hope, but I have given up hope on the Final Four. When we talk about the
I will say about Creighton, there doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem like the locker room. But I don't know. I don't have my finger on the pulse of Creighton basketball. I'm not watching every second.
They didn't quit in that game.
It doesn't feel like they're
it
doesn't feel like an Indiana situation where it's like we got to figure out what the hell is going on in this locker room. And
I think if I had a whiteboard and I was Mike Woodson, I would write 2 words all the way across the whiteboards.
Charmin soft.
Log off.
Log off. Yeah, there you go.
Log off.
Log off. You're not wrong.
Let's go play basketball.
But yeah, I don't think Creighton. I don't think they're at that point. I don't think they need a players only meeting, even though they're 9-8 and they were supposed to be a top 10 team this year.
And last year,
I don't. I'm sorry.
Right.
I watched them play and I'm like, I don't think they're that bad. I think they're just not winning.
They didn't. It wasn't this bad. I mean, last year was kind of similar though. They had their struggles. They were up and downs, and then at the end of the year, they kind of peaked. So I'm thinking that Creighton could peak at the right time. But for right now, Greg McDermott, you are a good guy of the week, and I think that's actually a compliment to Greg McDermott.
The good thing is the Big East is a good enough conference that if you start winning, you get the momentum going.
Right.
There are opportunities. It's not so good that you can't win these games. It's not like you're looking at the schedule and you're like, damn, we got 3 top 5 teams we got coming up next. But it is good enough that if you start, they got Providence at home. That would be a good win. That's their next game. Providence at home. You beat Providence at home. Then they go to Hinkle Fieldhouse. I know Butler's
and they're different at home. Like they blew out DePaul, blew out Seton Hall at home. I mean, they played well at home. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you start there is hope, I guess, because
right.
because you start stringing some wins together. You could talk yourself back
There's
into
no
Creighton.
doubt in my mind that McDermott comes into the locker room and says, "Guys, this schedule, this really tough schedule that we had, where we're going to Texas to play in the Moody Center, we're playing Arkansas, and all of this has prepared us for this second half of the schedule, right?
Yeah.
We got to run through that. We got to rip off 10 straight
I'm
wins,
I'm buying all the Creighton stock that everyone's selling
right? Same,
because it's at an all-time low right now.
right? Buy low,
I'm buying
sell
low, baby.
high.
I'm buying low.
I'm,
It can't
I can't.
I mean, it's like a penny stock at this point, so I'm gonna.
Right.
I mean, like it's not a lot of risk, but
Yeah, we're the wolves of Wall Street right now.
So, anyway,
Give me
all right.
Creighton. I will go to Omaha, by the way, because when I watch Creighton in person, you and I, when we watch Creighton, they play great. And if you need us to come to Omaha to
That is
watch
true.
them, to bring back the
When
magic,
is-
or
when
even
is,
go on the road to find them, we will do what we have to do for the
Too
Blue
bad
Jays.
Lav is at San Diego because he was a big
Right. He would have taken us to Omaha.
dollar beer night at Omaha.
Right.
Right? That was his
Right.
thing. He loved the dollar beer night at I would love to go to
We got to have Coach Lav on, by the way.
Lav still might go, by the way. If Creighton has a home game and San Diego's off, we might call him and ask him to go to Omaha with us.
Right.
We might do it.
Because he's the
honestly.
man. He's a great bad guy.
All right, moving on.
Speaking of bad guys, bad guy of the week. Can't believe he did it again. Matthew McConaughey. I don't know how he's doing it, folks. I'm not sure. It's some sort of smokescreen, but last night TCU had a 18-point halftime lead against Texas. During this broadcast, it was on ESPN. They never really talked about the situation that was at hand. They talked about the interim coach, but in general, all they wanted to talk about was this beautiful new building that we are playing in, the Moody Center. And as we both know, it was designed by Matthew McConaughey. It was built brick by brick by Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey then took the team in there and worked on some nice mic-and drills with them. He did everything that he had to do for Texas basketball to bring them back. And they've only lost one game in the Moody Center so far. They lost to maybe their future head coach, Coach Tang, and the Kansas Wildcats. So maybe that was a wink loss. So the Moody Magic is alive. The Moody Magic as well. The Moody Magic was tested. And we remember last year TCU had a huge lead, or Texas had a huge lead, and TCU did the same. So it was a nice little reversal there. But Matthew McConaughey gets a big win. The Moody Magic is alive. We talked about the Moody Center ad nauseum. We did not talk about anything else. And Texas basketball seems to be skating on by and surviving the time, scratching and surviving. Good times with Matthew McConaughey.
Now that Texas has fired Chris Beard, they are likable, correct? Like as a program, we
have
are
to tip our cap.
We're cheering for Texas,
Right?
right?
Because they're going through adversity. I saw John
Yeah.
Rothstein was like, "This Texas team is teaching us that through turbulent times we can band together, and good outcomes will happen."
Yeah, I learned that from watching the Mighty Ducks, honestly.
Right. I learned that from watching Matthew McConaughey and We Are Marshall.
Yeah,
that is where I learned
that's a lesson I didn't need Texas basketball to teach me, but I'm a little older, But
thank you, Matthew McConaughey.
90s kids, we watched Gordon Bombay bring those boys together, and we're like, okay, we get it now. So like Texas basketball in 2023 doesn't really do that for me, but for some people, maybe it does. And for John Rothstein, that certainly seems to be the case. I will say this: Texas was 7-1 with Chris Beard this year, lost to Illinois, as we remember, in overtime in Madison Square Garden. That was
strangest
their
thing
one
that's
loss.
happened all season.
Since then, since Chris Beard was put on leave, suspended, whatever it was, and then now officially fired, and Ronnie Terry's taken over. You know what Texas record is? 7-1. So there you go.
So how good of a coach was he?
How good of a coach was Chris Beard?
Right. And I like that they're playing some of these freshmen. I that's the other thing about Texas. I like the youth.
No, Texas is a very good team, and they're going to be good all season. And when they lose Chris Beard, you and I looked at each other and was like, well, there goes the season. And then I guess now that we've been watching, we're like, well, wait a second, they do have a ton of talented players and older guys that have.
I like Dylan Mitchell. And I really think Serge Jabari Rice is a nice piece. Serge Jabari Rice clinched the game with the free throws. So there you go.
And the Marcus Carr NCAA tournament moment has not happened yet. There is that to consider.
I think Marcus Carr and Caleb Love would be best friends. I think they have a very similar mindset.
But it feels like Marcus Carr is going to have a Caleb Love moment where he hits a huge shot and in a Sweet 16 game.
He did in this game last night. He hit a huge three late and had not made a three all game, and seemingly there was no chance he was going to until he did, and that is the Marcus Carr experience. Texas is pretty good, but TCU I like a lot too. So there you go. That was a fun game.
I think there's just bad vibes around around the campus right now.
Right. Can we talk about that quickly? A quick aside.
It
I mean,
reminds me of
the
Memphis
worst
with the
loss
Grizzlies
in
when
bowl history. You know,
with
think about
the
how
football
many
game.
how many bowls have happened. I mean, I'm just talking about TCU in general. I mean, they have this happen. Last night, as I'm watching the game in the first half, I have to put it on mute because Fruity just keeps talking. So I'm like, let's mute Fruity. And yeah,
he did a McConaughey impression, didn't he?
The worst thing that's happened to my ears in years. And then I had to. That was like, why did I unmute this ever? Back to mute. But watching that game in the first half, you're like, nice. TCU's going to get something after that football game. Maybe a nice win. Maybe the campus turns around and says, hey, we're a basketball school. Let's lean into this. But that bowl game, I mean, we haven't talked on the air
Yeah,
since
we
then.
have not.
It broke my brain.
It really did.
And I will say, when Kirby Smart before the game, Holly Rowe, shout out to Holly Rowe. She's great. She's on the sideline. She's like, Coach Smart, what do we expect to see tonight from the Bulldogs? And he goes, aggression.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a dog, like ready to bite somebody, like chomping at the bit. And then I heard his the speech
pregame
before
speech, yeah.
Amazing,
which is hilarious because I don't understand. Like, why do we have to pretend like these guys
don't talk like that?
What, dude? I got to get out of college football. I just got to get out of it. I can't do. I gotta like, God, it's so frustrating being a non-Southerner whose whose team is good enough to win a national championship. It's the most frustrating thing in the world, Tate, because the all shucks thing. That the Dabos and listen to the names of these coaches. Yeah, like did it dawn on anybody that we were watching a man named Sonny and a man named Kirby coaching each other?
Love it.
And Dabo's chiming in.
It's
and
football,
he's tweeting,
baby.
And at halftime let's get a word from Dabo and Jimbo and and Cooter and it's like
and the boys. Mac.
But these dudes come out and like I don't know, like the all shucks Southern charm, like every time Kirby Smart talks in front of a microphone, he tries to play dumb. I guess I don't know what it is. Like and then the speech, and then the speech he gives, you're like, why is that guy like when you get in front of a camera? Why are you not that guy you are in the locker room? I don't understand.
Because the locker room's a private place.
I respect that about Saban because I do think Saban probably is he uses more F-bombs in front of his guys, obviously, but he's not. I don't think he's doing the flipping back and forth. Like Saban to me doesn't seem to be, but like some of these dudes, man, it's like Dabo's that way too,
My favorite thing about
Kirby
Smart,
it drives me nuts.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It drives you nuts. My favorite thing that I saw for the Georgia game that like I love is one of my favorite coaches' sayings. That is the dumbest thing, but also sounds smart. He said to his whole locker room, Kirby did, and I like Kirby Smart a lot. He said, "Guys, what does 1 + 1 equal?" And everyone's like.
And all the Georgia,
obviously, too.
We don't have the other students in our class.
In unison, the entire locker room says 3. and I think a lot of people were like, "What in the hell does that mean?" But it was something that I heard when I was younger. And it's basically like in the field of battle, in a game, like things don't make sense. Is like the way to kind of dilute it down to what he's saying. It's like 1 + 1 is not going to equal 2 in the field of battle. Nothing's going to make sense. Things are going to happen, and we're going to have to react to it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be perfect out there. And I heard that, and I was like, "Holy." Kirby Smart. I mean, this guy is like he gets it.
I'm over the.
I was fired up. I've never seen a beatdown like that in my life.
I've not.
It was
either.
great for Manti Tate. If I was a Notre Dame fan, I would have been running around the streets saying, "Thank you, Georgia. TCU is the biggest losers in history. It's no longer us."
Yeah.
Manti Tate, you're free. Finally, at the dock, and then this, you're free.
Far from it.
Far
from it. Manti, are you the biggest loser in college championship history?
Far from it.
Far from it. Just does the horn frog.
Huge win for the Buckeyes as well.
Right.
We almost beat Georgia.
You guys basically played in the national championship.
I'm over. I guess we can move on, get back to the basketball.
Right,
but I'm over Southerners pretending to be dumb and then not being dumb.
That's all. That's what we love to do.
I noticed.
That's the thing. That's the best thing about the South.
I'm over Kirby Smart. Like what little tidbits you see of the guy. You're like, is this guy and all? Is it? Yeah. What is this guy's deal? Whatever. You understand that he's a great defensive mind and all these. I don't know. You're told one thing, but then you see this and it doesn't really compute. And then you get the locker room speech and you're like, aha, I get it now. You're just playing a character when you get in front of a camera and a microphone.
Right.
I hate this. I hate that this happens because this doesn't happen with the Big Ten coaches. Like the Big Ten
I think
coaches
when
are
he's
who
on
they are.
camera,
They're just doofuses.
he's just taking a deep breath, you
Yeah.
know, and then otherwise he's just barking.
When you shove a microphone in front of Jim Harbaugh, he's like, "I'm a doofus," and guess what I am behind closed doors? I'm a doofus. Same with Ryan Day. He's like, I will dye my beard in private, and I will dye my beard in public. That's who I am.
That's Coach K though. That's not it. Coach K taught him that. That's what you're supposed to do.
And yeah, I don't know. All right, moving on.
Well, there you go.
Moving
Bad
on.
guys. I mean, college football is littered with bad guys. So that's why it was nice to talk about college football during there. So Matthew McConaughey, bad guy of the week. Let's talk about Kyle Guy. We do not have Kyle Guy coming on the show. I hope he's doing well on this fine day. And I'm sure he is, because the Virginia Cavaliers, like you said, I believe this is 8 straight that they have now won in Charlottesville against my North Carolina Tar Heels. Armando Bacot goes down early in this game. But Kyle Guy, this is his guy of the week. It's got to be Ben Vanderplas, who I think he had scored 12 points in his past 4 games or something like that. But, of course, against North Carolina, has 17 and 8.
It doesn't.
He's named after Tony Bennett. And also a transfer.
It doesn't
of
sit
Ohio.
well with me that the guy who saved the game from North Carolina and is their big spark plug off the bench is the guy that torched them in the NCAA tournament. That still doesn't sit well with me.
Right.
I mean, I don't know who I'm mad at. I guess maybe Vanderplas. It feels Kevin Durant to the Warriors. Very, very. But he beat them, so I guess not, right? Because he didn't lose to. Okay, so
I think it's actually more respect because he's like, these guys are so bad. I need my help them.
Yeah. I don't know. It just breaks my brain watching it. I'm like, does anyone else remember that this guy?
I honestly don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think if you ask like the casual fan that's watching the game, they're like, who's this freshman for Virginia? I like his game.
But I mean, as more time goes by, Virginia fans are going to convince themselves that he was on Virginia in that game.
Right.
And I forget how many points he had, 20 something. He scored those points for Virginia in that game. No, but Virginia is Virginia the best team in the ACC? Miami, Carolina. Who's in the?
I don't know.
Who's in the ACC driver's seat? Would you say?
I mean, Clemson by the actual ACC record, but I mean, yeah, exactly. Come on. Honestly, Virginia. I was not impressed with Virginia in this game. If Armando Bacot plays in this game, I think Carolina, should win this game. I mean, Virginia. I want Jaden Gardner to be good. I really do. But at the end of the day, I mean, Vanderplas saved him in this game. Armand Franklin was good. Reese Beekman was great down the stretch, as he usually is. Reese Beekman is a great closer. I trust Reese Beekman. I also don't think he's 100%. I guess by de facto, out of respect for Tony Bennett, I'll say Virginia is the class of the ACC. But the ACC is it's
our conferences stink.
Right.
Our conferences are.
We were texting
very
each other.
bad.
I don't think the Big Ten nor the ACC has a national title contender.
It's Purdue, and
let's be honest.
It's Purdue.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it may be Purdue,
but
let's be honest.
But it's never. It's never Purdue.
It's never Purdue.
It can never be Purdue.
Coach Titus, I'm looking right at you.
It can never be Purdue.
We know it's not Purdue.
Purdue knows it's not Purdue.
We in the ACC are laughing. We are laughing. It is not Purdue. So right now, the Kyle Guy of the week has been Vanderplas. Tony Bennett, you are the class of the ACC. But the ACC, if there's a panic button in front of me, I'm smacking
until so Clemson and Clemson hasn't played Virginia. I'm looking at their schedule right now. They only play Virginia once. It's at Virginia towards the end of the season. They play North Carolina.
That's going to be a big win.
They play North Carolina once. It's at North Carolina. So Clemson does have a favorable schedule, I guess. They play Duke
at home.
Are you kidding me? They played Duke once? All right, Clyde, I walk all this back. Clemson's winning the season.
And I tell you thought that Clemson's fans...
They played Duke, Carolina. Am I reading this correctly?
Clemson fans are going to storm Joe Lunardi's house in Connecticut or wherever he may live if he does not put Clemson as a 5 seed in his updated bracketology. They're coming for this man's neck.
They played Duke, Carolina, and Virginia once.
Right.
And the ACC approved this?
Yeah. Brad Brownell. He's one of the most seasoned coaches in the league. He's finally getting his due respect. Sometimes,
oh my God, dude.
Sometimes you just got to wait it out, you know? You know when you have ice in a glass, you just got to let it melt, and then eventually you can have a nice glass of water. That's Brad Brownell in the ACC.
I want to talk about Jalen Washington, but I'm going to save it for later.
You're going to save it for later?
That way. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to save it for later.
Well, there you go. Kyle Guy, Ben Vanderplas. Congratulations to the Wahoos. You've officially gotten in my head. I am not happy about it, but I respect Tony Bennett, so I'll move on. Finally, Cal's guy. Yikes. John Calipari lost to South Carolina, a team that, barely could beat Georgetown.
Shout out Michi Johnson. Buckeye
Shout
transfer.
out Gigi Jackson, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right.
Our
South
guys.
Carolina's our
guys.
Our guys. Gigi Jackson was a Carolina transfer, goes to South Carolina. Michi Johnson played for the Buckeyes, transferred to South Carolina.
Right. And
together, he had a monster game against Kentucky.
I mean, if we had a TBT team, I think I'd get those guys.
Yeah, this is our guy.
I think I'd go after those guys.
South Carolina our team. Let's go.
I've always liked Lamont Paris. He's a nice guy. Cal's guy, South Carolina upsets Kentucky. Kentucky fans are literally in a spiral. Is probably the best way to put it. But Cal's guy of the week is, I believe, an actor, and I'm not sure. I know Matthew McConaughey was the bad guy, so we have two actors this week on the list.
Is it Jim Caviezel? Did he tweet another picture with him and Jesus in the locker room?
I wish he did. I think that'd be good for everybody. But no, it was the man who decided to bring a brown sign. He basically there it is, right there. He brings a sign into the building that says, "Please go to Texas." Shout out to the Kentucky Sports Radio guys. They found this out. He apparently was thrown out of the game. But I posit to you, Mark Titus, I think John Calipari paid this man. I think this man is a crisis actor. I think he came in to send the message that John Calipari now has, like, he can say that you don't want me here.
Yeah.
You want me to go to you want me to go to Texas.
How am I supposed
bad?
to coach under these circumstances?
I guess I got to go to Texas.
Yeah.
That's what you want me to do.
Cal,
you want me to go to Texas.
I have seen a lot of Cal in the post-game press conferences saying, "Stop blaming the kids."
Right.
And all the Kentucky fans are like, "We're not.
No one has blamed one kid.
No one is.
Right.
We're blaming you, coach." And he's like, "They're just kids. Please stop, all of you." And maybe he's gone to that well one too many times, and he's like, "I need new material. I need an enemy
like we said, his back
to point
pocket
to."
is empty.
So he pulled this out. I think, okay, so we're looking at the picture right now. The guy is sitting by himself. I find that interesting.
Right.
You know,
he has no Kentucky gear on.
He has no Kentucky gear.
He's wearing a white T-shirt and a black jacket. He has a sign that looks like you've just been paid $100 to do this, and this is the $100 effort that you put in. And I'm not saying John Calipari paid him directly, but there was a bag man involved, and maybe even a fall guy. Maybe even a fall guy. That's how high this goes up to the top. I saw this sign, I saw the tweet, I saw the moment in time, and I said to myself, "Oh my God, John Calipari, this man is playing chess."
And then this is the distraction. This is the thing that everyone's talking about. They're not talking about.
And now they have no respect for their national championship winning coach. Look at all of the wins. Look at the $3 billion in NBA contracts. Look at Tyrese Maxey. He's borderline all-star.
And then
borderline all-star for the Sixers. And Kentucky fans are doing this.
And then you can spin it to, like, they did the same with Tubby Smith. They kind of ran him out of town. He won a national championship. So now
Tubby
you got to ask
tweeted
yourself,
this and said, "This is really bad to see."
Hurts my heart. Is there a problem with the fans at Kentucky? Is what you ask yourself.
Is it toxic?
Is it a toxic culture in Lexington? Coaches are winning national championships for you, and it's still not good enough.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Is Cal going to Texas though?
yeah. I'm telling you, that's Cal's guy of the week, though. I mean, I don't think he's even a Kentucky fan. I think he's a crisis actor. I think he was.
I get behind that. I get behind that, and the part that I think makes the most sense about all this is how much attention it's gotten. I think there's like a concentrated effort that Cal is putting. He's leaking this to media. Like, I expected to wake up the day after the game and see this guy on Good Morning America.
Right.
Like, everyone was talking about this. It was incredible, and I think that's like a very concentrated effort on Cal's part to use his media contacts and say, like, "Do you guys see this?" He's texting it. He has a group text with it's just called mainstream media. That's the name of the text. And he just said, "Do you guys see this?" and sent a link to the picture.
And then they all started retweeting it and putting it out there. And also, this feels like a very World Wide West kind of play, like what LeBron. This is something LeBron would do. Like, LeBron is planning to leave Cleveland for the second time, and there's someone in the crowd that says, "Please leave Cleveland."
Yeah,
and it was a Nike.
He's like,
plot.
"I was gonna stay, but like, it seems like you guys don't want me."
I guess you guys don't want me.
So I'm gonna go home.
It's like when Shaq, remember Shaq in Orlando? He was like, they wrote something in the paper, and the Orlando Sentinel said they didn't want Shaq. Did a poll, so you don't want Shaq? I'm leaving. I'm like, genius. That's so genius. He planted the poll.
It's a Mark Turgeon move too, dude. When he left Maryland, he's like, the fans obviously are toxic. How come they don't want me?
It's plausible deniability. There you go. That's a segment.
That was a great segment, dude. That was. I don't mean to shit on your other times we do good guy, bad guy, but you know, it's not about that. It's about this one. I think you really elevated your game this time. You know, I think you really brought it. Yeah.
Well, two actors. You had to deliver. It was a show.
All right, let's take a break. Come back. I'm going to try to match
the energy
that Tate brought to the first half with some fraud power rankings. All right, fraud power rankings. statement out of the gate. Red Panda, as a reminder, is officially off the fraud power rankings for the rest of the season. I had a lot of people, I think she was at Georgia last night. A lot of people tweeting to me about the Georgia game. A lot of the DMs were buzzing. She fumbled it bad. We all saw it. 4 bowls. Just she was it was I have not seen a bowl atrocity that bad since the TCU Georgia game. Tate, we'll put it that way.
I want her to give
but-
like a post, like an Allen Iverson press conference where she's like, I'm human. I make mistakes just like you.
Yeah.
You know, I need that from Red Panda.
So the Please Go to Texas guys in the stands holding a sign that says please go to Texas. As she's performing, she's like, I can't perform under these conditions. But what I want to say is, we know who she is at this point. All right, Red Panda is late stage Undertaker. She is that's where I've arrived with her. Where I know she's not as good as she was. I know she's just kind of lumbering out there, and she can't. But damn it, if she can show up at WrestleMania once a year,
Right,
roll her eyes in the back of the head, take the thumb across the neck, and deliver a tombstone pile driver, that's all I need. You know, that's all I need. And then I'm like, it's the same Red Panda we all know and love.
Right.
That's all. And I've gotten at least that this year. So as a reminder, no more Red Panda. She's off the
leave
fraud
her
power, right?
alone.
Yeah. I brought this upon myself because I brought, to start the
Mhm.
season, I called her a fraud and said she's washed up. So I guess I should maybe take full responsibility, but also this is not my fault because I'm trying to stop this conversation. Leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
But also keep sending me
Fair
the
point.
Keep sending me the DMs because I do think they're funny. All right. Number 5 on the fraud power rankings this week, Hubert Davis, your head coach.
Oh wow.
And here's why. How do you have Jalen Washington on the bench this entire season? And you save him for what? For Armando Bacot rolling his ankle, and then you decide to play him after the season's falling apart for North Carolina, after your number 1 preseason team in the country is how many losses you guys have now? 11 or you're 11-6, is it? 11-7?
11-6.
11-6. And only now
Wins over College of Charleston, Ohio State, and Michigan. Great resume.
one of those is a good one. I'll give that
College
to
of
you.
Charleston. Huge win. Only team to beat College of Charleston.
But how do you
Jim likes that. I told him early in the season. I was like, it's a good win.
shut up. All of you shut up. Shut up. How do you have Jalen I don't understand. This is malpractice.
He was hurt.
This is malpractice.
He was hurt for a little while. Then he was ramping up. You know, we love these terms in the NBA. He was ramping up, and then Hubert said, "Get off that ramp. Let's play."
So Jalen Washington commits to Carolina. I remember when it happened because I have tabs on every Indiana kid. Any Indiana kid committing anywhere.
It's like a light flashes in your house.
Yeah, it does. An angel gets its wings, and I'm like, what just happened? So I'm aware of Jalen Washington the moment he commits to North Carolina. I probably could go back to the text. I probably texted you about it. It was not a surprise. I wasn't like, where did this kid come from? It was just I've never seen him play before. I'll be honest. So I assume when he got to Carolina, he just was like a raw talent that was going to take a couple years to develop.
Right.
And this man checks, and I have not watched him play this year because he plays like 3 minutes every so often against like whatever. I have not.
He missed the start of the season.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't active for like probably the first 5 to 8 games, somewhere in that range.
And then the games he does play, I haven't really. I guess maybe I wasn't watching. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Whatever. This was my first real look at Jalen Washington. Was against Virginia. This man checks in. It wasn't the first time he touched the ball because I think he got fouled and hit a couple free throws. But the first field goal he hits is a turn and face, jab step on the baseline, like 10, 15-foot jump shot, nothing but net. Purest stroke ever. If you didn't know the kid was from Indiana, you saw him shoot the ball one time, you're like, that kid must be from Indiana. I almost fainted, Tate. I almost fainted. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, who is this man?
Who is this man?
Right.
How is this man not getting more minutes? He was incredible the entire game. Well, he was incredible for stretches, then kind of ran out of gas because, again, he's not getting enough minutes. What's going on? He's not, like, I don't know. I'm so frustrated because I know when Bacot comes back, his ass is going right back to the bench, and he's not going to get any burn. What I'm saying, Jalen, if you're listening, transfer to Indiana. Transfer to Indiana. The Hoosiers need you, Jalen. Come home.
Right.
Come back home. or Ohio State, or it just I don't know,
yeah,
but
Justin
Indiana
McCoy-
felt like a more logical play for him.
Right. Justin McCoy should
go
be
to
number
IU.
5 on the fraud power rankings. Justin McCoy, a man who transferred from Virginia, who finessed both Virginia and North Carolina into
Is he a
giving
plant?
him.
Do you think
I don't know what
Tony
it was.
Bennett sent him
He's from
to-
North Carolina, but yeah, he came in this game and was, I think he played 15 minutes and was minus 11 in his 15 minutes. Jalen Washington, I think, led the team in plus minus. I like Jalen Washington. Hubert Davis, who likes hyperbole, loves hyperbole, said that Jalen Washington was the best shooting big man he's ever seen. So there you go.
No, he's incredible.
But-
Big men aren't supposed to. Freshman big men aren't supposed to be able
Have
to shoot like
touch.
that. Have touch like
Yeah.
that. That left hand, dude. I'm a big left hand guy.
Right.
You know?
If you have a left
if you have that
hand,
left hand,
woo. Woo.
that straight left hand on the that's an Indiana staple, dude. The Indiana stroke. Which, funny enough, Larry Bird is like the most famous Indiana shooter and used to like catapult it from behind his head.
I think it was for fun.
Still.
I think he just liked doing that. He could do whatever he wanted.
And then the other guy you think of when you think of Indiana shooting is probably Reggie Miller, who was not an Indiana guy, certified fraud.
Right.
Um,
California guy.
but also would shoot with all 10 fingers.
Right. Right.
But
If it
still,
works, it works.
the Jimmy Chitwood, Steve Alford,
Mhm.
you know, flat
Let's look at
left,
the wrist.
You know, oh my God, Jalen Washington's so good. I thought of, as I was watching him, I thought of a new bit I should do as Indiana continues to just be in free fall, and Indiana culture is Indiana basketball. The Hoosiers are, it is not a good scene in Bloomington right now. I thought of giving people a silver lining, the IU fans that are like me, that love the state, the brand of Indiana basketball, like, you know, guys out of the Hoosier State.
Right.
I thought of doing a new segment where I just do like my power rankings of Indiana kids across the country.
Right.
Like that I am locked in on and I'm
Mhm.
in love with.
Mhm.
Because Jalen Washington might be number 1 already.
I love that.
Already.
I like
13
Jalen
minutes
Washington.
against did he play 13 minutes? It felt like 13. No, he had 13 points. That's what it was. Against Virginia, was all it took for me to just be like,
He's
this
got to
guy
get
is-
in game shape. And
He
then
does,
once he gets
yeah,
in
he
game
does.
shape, we'll be fine. But I'm happy that you're happy about Jalen Washington. That makes me
Yeah.
happy.
I'm fired up, dude.
Right.
Number 4, Rupp Arena security. Rupp Arena. We already talked about it. We don't need to revisit it, but the tossing this guy out is
Soft.
is one of it was a Streisand effect thing
Mhm.
also that I wanted to point out, that like if you don't acknowledge it, it might get a few retweets, Tate, but the second you eject this guy, that's all anybody's talking about, which makes me think what you're saying, that Cal is in on this. That Cal, they ejected him quick too. So I wonder if Cal put out that, like, just FYI, he calls it security. He's like, just FYI, there's gonna be a guy sitting in section 126, row 38. He's gonna have a sign. He's gonna come in.
He's going to look very disinterested.
Yeah, he's gonna look very disinterested. Let's go ahead and kick him out for maximum engagement. Yeah, I can't believe this and Rupp Arena also is on the fraud power rankings for like 50% capacity, dude. Like,
Well, I'll be honest with you,
what
like
the
the
hell is-
Kentucky that I know, the Lexington that I know, I mean, this guy wouldn't have got in just because the fans would have kicked his ass. Unless the fans agree. Which goes back to what we talked about when the haters guy to the AP poll. Your coach is going to
Your
Texas.
coach is going to
and
Texas,
I think that
dude.
Kentucky fans are content with it.
I
think
thought
they might be down
Kentucky
for
had
it.
I really did think Kentucky had the best fan base in the country. Like, Big Blue Nation shows out and shows anywhere, you know, but they can't even go to Lexington for a game. That's upsetting, you know.
Woof.
Or maybe they were in, you know what it was? They were in line at the Orange Julius outside of Rupp Arena, because Rupp Arena's in a mall, as you know, and maybe they were all waiting for their
Fruity
Orange Julius.
Spatola.
Yeah, fruity.
Yeah, for
It's my favorite drink at home.
For their
That is a
fruity-
good drink.
They're ordering the
It's a
fruity
good drink.
Spatola.
Terrible listen, good drink.
Number 3 on the fraud power rankings, Florida International and UNC Wilmington. It's a tie. Florida International. So as we all know, if you follow college basketball closely, Florida, these are 2 teams that were powerhouses at
Mhm.
this point in the season. We were talking about them as Final Four contenders. Florida International, a team that comes into the game last night. They lost to Eastern Michigan by 12. They lost to Howard by 12. But in spite of those things, Tate, Florida International, I think you would agree, is when you think college basketball, you think Florida International. I mean,
Right.
it begins and ends there.
Right.
They are just an absolute powerhouse in our sport. Same with UNC Wilmington, a team that lost to UConn by 36 earlier this year and lost to Oklahoma by 21. They are also a team that I look at and I say, absolute powerhouse,
Mhm.
unbeatable.
John Calipari played there. That says enough.
Yeah. So those to me, if I was doing, like, I don't have an AP poll
Mhm.
vote, but if I did, They're definitely top 5, those 2
Right.
teams. Going into last night,
Right.
turns out, Tate, they are not that good. They are frauds,
Mm.
because they both get upset by, 2 team these 2 upstart, let me see if I wrote it down. Florida Atlantic beat Florida International in overtime, so huge win for that underdog team, Florida Atlantic, to beat a powerhouse like Florida International. And the College of Charleston, won by 2, it says here, against UNCW. So huge wins for those 2 programs. Yeah, so I guess those 2 programs they're gonna pick up a ton of AP votes now because if you
Mm.
knock off a team like that, College of Charleston's what, 17-1 and just beat a powerhouse in UNC Wilmington? That's first place votes, dude.
I think they're
That's
top
first place
10.
vote. I think
I
so.
think one
I
loss.
think so.
Charleston's top 10.
I can't do it anymore.
I
I
love
can't
that
do
the
it.
net rankings are supposed to be you can't even argue the net rankings
What's
with some
Charleston in net
people.
rankings?
I think Charleston, let's see. I know Florida Atlantic is I think 14 in the net rankings. So there you go. I mean, that says a lot. That says a
I
lot
think
right
Florida
there.
Atlantic deserves more credit than Charleston, to be completely honest with you, but Florida Atlantic did beat Florida, as we said.
Florida Atlantic is 15 in the net rankings. So there you go. I think Charleston is like 53. Yeah, they're 45 now.
That can't be
45.
right. They're 22nd, 23rd in
Hey,
the, AP
they're in
poll.
front of Missouri. Missouri's number 20 in the country.
Huge wins for both of these programs. Congratulations to Charleston, who is down 5 with like 2 minutes left. Buzzer beater from UNC Wilmington. Did you see the shot?
Mm-hmm. Tough.
Rolls in and out.
Tough.
Hits the if it.
Yeah.
I
All I
I
could think to
don't.
myself when it happened was Charleston, top 15.
I want to hook every AP poll voter up to a lie detector test and ask them. I seriously
Mm.
believe this. I'm not trying to troll. I seriously believe this. Charleston would not, if they were playing in the Big 12, they would not win a single game in the Big 12. They would not win
Mm.
a one. Texas Tech at home is probably their best bet. Probably, Texas Tech is probably playing the worst basketball right now in the Big 12, right? Um, they're not beating Texas Tech. I don't understand how, and this isn't me being a mid-major hater because as a reminder for the listeners, Tate, once upon a time, I was the guy who was yelling at all my Big Ten friends when they were saying Gonzaga would finish last in the Big Ten when, like the Kelly Olynyk era Gonzaga teams. I think Gonzaga got ranked number 1 at one point, and they're like, this is bullshit. They would finish last in the Big Ten. I was
Mhm.
saying no, they wouldn't. They've beaten good teams. They're very good. Like they have NBA prospects on this team. There are tangible things you can point to that say this is a very good basketball team. Just because they're a small school and playing a tiny conference does not mean they are not a great basketball team. You guys are all idiots. None of that applies to Charleston. None of it. They have not
Mm.
beaten any good teams. They are not a good basketball team. I am sick of pretending like we have to. I don't understand. I feel like I'm going crazy. I have to be the bad guy. I have to be, and I
Right.
understand where this ends. I get it. I know that this is going to be thrown back in my face. Charleston is going to make the NCAA tournament. They are going to beat Ohio State in the first round. Everyone's going to tell me to suck it, and I will deserve that, Tate. But as of right now, I'm done. I don't under. I want to hook every AP poll voter up to a lie detector test and say, prove to me that you actually believe that this is one of the 25 best teams in the country. There's no way you believe this. There's no way. Do you believe this?
But it's
There's
a good
no way.
but it's a good story. It's a good story.
There's no
and
way.
These
I'm
are
going
journalists.
crazy.
These are journalists. And the journalists are
How
like,
do you
what is the
beat-
best story? Team 17-1. They've only lost
How do you
one
go to
game.
overtime against Towson and the narrative coming out is like team of destiny? This team is and not
Right.
this team. We can say it. Sorry.
This team
Blur-
wins games.
Bleep that out. Bleep that out, Jim. Sorry. I'm just fired up. I'm lashing out. I don't mean to be mean to Charleston fans.
Charleston, you win games.
I don't mean to be mean. I'm sorry.
Unlike Creighton.
That was too much. Cut that out. That was too I went too far. I'm just fired. Someone's got to say it. I don't understand what's going on here that we're all pretending. They wouldn't win a single game. And if they played a Big 12 schedule, they would not win a single game. Not one single game.
They might beat Oklahoma at home.
And I don't know, like, aren't we fighting to get, like, if
Villanova beat Oklahoma? They could beat
if a power
Oklahoma.
conference team played Charleston's schedule, they would be, if Jim Boeheim played Charleston's schedule, he would.
He'd beat top 5.
Every single talking head in college basketball would be ripping him apart about how he won't schedule anybody. And this
Right.
team is a fraud. And I don't care how many wins Syracuse has, they're a fraud. Somehow, if you're a darling, and you know, you're a team that we haven't talked about a lot in college basketball, and you're a fun story. I guess you're right. You're a fun story. I'm sorry I got so heated. I don't mean to take it out. Charleston fans are they're not gonna like me by the end of the year. I'll just put it that way. But it's nothing against you. Like, I just want you to actually prove it. That's all I want. I want you to play like a real team, beat a real team. Then I'll take it all back. That's what Houston earned my respect. I was saying this shit when Houston dodged Gonzaga to play Our Lady of the Lake. And I was like, what's going on here? This is Mickey Mouse behavior. Like, I'm not going to award this. We're not going to do that. That's not what this program's going to do.
Right.
Listen to a different podcast if you want that. And then Houston's now earned my respect as a program. They've beaten good teams. They've made the Final Four, so do that, Charleston. Make the Final Four or you're a fraud.
If Charleston gets the win streak to 20, do you reassess? They've won 16 straight. You can't deny it. Charleston.
I don't. Or beat the hell out of somebody. I guess maybe there's that. If Charleston wins a game by 40, I'll reassess. How about that?
There you go.
If Charleston wins like 5 straight games and every wins by 20 plus, I'll reassess.
They were up 12 at halftime.
But you can't beat, Stetson by 5 at home and UNC Wilmington by 2, and you can't continue to do this.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I also think that you hate Cougars. First it was the Houston Cougars, now it's the College Charleston, next it's Washington State. What is it with you and Cougars?
BYU.
Yeah, you've turned on the Cougars.
I'm scarred from
What did a Cougar do to you?
I had there's an incident in high school with an older woman that scarred me forever.
No,
I apologize for getting a little. I took it a little too far, but
you're zagging.
I'm zagging.
Yeah.
I'm zagging.
A lot of writers are zigging.
Moving on. Number 2 on the fraud power rankings, Georgetown. Georgetown, not for the reasons you might think, Tate. It's been well documented that Georgetown stinks. We don't need to talk about that. What we need to talk about is that Georgetown has an opportunity in front of them to hire a coach who will turn around their program, turn around the city of Washington, D.C., turn around the Big East Conference as a whole. And they are not doing that. They are not jumping at this chance. And for that reason, their entire university is fraudulent. I'm talking about Jay Williams, who tweeted the other day, "So people keep asking me, so I will answer. Georgetown basketball has always been my dream job." Georgetown basketball is this man's dream job, and they still, in spite of knowing this information, they have not yet fired Patrick Ewing and hired Jay Williams. It's fraudulent. I don't know why they're not. What are they waiting on?
Right.
Why are they not doing this right now?
Right, because he can change the culture instantaneously with his takes.
Yeah.
With his NPR podcast, which I think is headquartered in DC, so he can easily do that. Can drive to the office and drive back to the gym. Will be no problem. I think the best part about this tweet is that it's genuine. I think that Jay Williams genuinely believes that he is the best man for the job. And that is the greatest bit of comedy I need.
Georgetown has always been a dream job for him, I guess.
Always.
And who is asking him? I love that he started with that. So people have been asking. That's a way you can. Anytime someone says that, I take that as literally no one was asking. You just have an opinion or a thought that you want to share with everybody.
Right. Or you have voices inside of your head. They're like, Jay Will, now's the time to be a coach. Also, Nolan Smith wants this job. So this is a fight amongst the Duke guys. These are 2 Duke point guards that have won national championships that are trying to gun for the same job at Georgetown. And I saw a lot of people pointing out that he would be the first black coach at Georgetown.
Wow,
so
Jay would? Wow, that would be huge.
That would be good.
That would be huge for Georgetown's a pretty white school.
Right. So,
I don't know if that would work.
Would that
work, do you think? I
think it could.
I don't know. That would
It's kind of like Boston. Like I think it could work.
Is this the part I'm bleeping out?
It's an interesting experiment. I don't know if it would.
He was hacked.
I don't know. Oh, Jay was hacked. Was that
yeah, that's right. He was hacked. Right.
Stan Van Gundy though steps up and said, "You shouldn't be campaigning for a job that isn't open. Have some integrity."
Right. I mean that is the genuinely. That's like the actual answer. Like if you said this to your dad, or like to my dad, and we said Jay Williams is angling for the Georgetown job, they would say that's ludicrous and ridiculous, and this man has no integrity. Which is what Stan Van Gundy is saying, but it's still hilarious.
Jay doubled down. Stan, I got to ask what my dream job is in sports. It's okay. I know what I stand for daily.
Is he still at ESPN?
No
Jay?
way.
Yeah. No.
I think so, right?
I think he's at NPR,
Because wouldn't his current
right?
employer just fire him? Like, oh, this isn't your dream job? Why don't you go do that?
Right. His boss calls him.
But you can't be saying
Like,
that.
saw your tweet.
Like, that's my dream girlfriend. Your current girlfriend would be like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I keep Stan, I got asked what my dream job was. My hands were tied. There's nothing I could do. That's what. Do you think this is why people kept asking us why we left the Ringer? Because they were like, if we
Yeah.
keep asking, they
Right.
have to answer.
Right. Eventually they'll answer.
They have to.
People keep
If you
asking.
ask,
People keep asking.
what am I supposed to do? I was asked a question.
I can't imagine any world where Jay Williams would get hired by Georgetown to be their head coach.
I can't imagine any world where Jay Williams would get hired by anybody to do anything.
Right. Right.
I don't know. Jay Williams was one of my favorite players.
I was gonna say
when I was younger.
He's
dude.
so bad outside of it that like you forget how good he was as a basketball player.
Yeah.
Like there was a
Legacy
time where
tarnished,
I was jealous.
dude, for real.
Legacy tarnished, put the stamp on it. My goodness. Because when there was a time in my life where he would do these interviews before the Carolina Duke game, and he'd always say, I really wanted to play at Carolina,
Yeah.
but they didn't offer me. And I would say to myself, I wish Jason Williams played at North Carolina. Why? And now, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Someone pointed out to me, a Georgetown fan pointed out to me that Dikembe Mutombo is literally on the board of directors, and so he would literally fire Patrick Ewing if it came to that. Because I was talking about how Mutombo has to be the guy to step up,
yeah.
to pull the trigger on Ewing, and then someone was like, "Funny you say that because he actually could. He's actually on the board of directors, so that's interesting." Oh, did you see the Pitino Hope posters that someone threw up at Georgetown?
No.
They were like Obama. It was the Pitino the Twitter headshot of him,
Right.
where he looks like a deer in the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
And then they turned it into like an Obama hope poster, and they're plastered all over Georgetown. What?
You know, Stan Van
Did they get
Gundy
tossed?
responded to that Jay Williams response.
Oh, what did he say?
After Jay Williams said, Stan, I got asked what my dream job is in sports. It's okay. I know what I stand for daily. Stan Van Gundy said, shouldn't be campaigning for a job that isn't open. Have some integrity.
No, he said that before. He said that
damn
to
Tyler. Sent it to us.
Jay. We already said that. And then Jay responded to that.
Forget it.
Oh my
This is
God.
the part-
Twitter.
This is the part we're bleeping.
Jim's old.
I got
Jim doesn't know how Twitter works. That's
Tyler.
Okay.
Tyler.
Finally,
Jim pointed the finger. That's Jay Williams at practice. They're like, Coach, you screwed up. He's like, I did it.
Yeah.
Tyler just tweeted he wants to be the Georgetown coach.
Patino, by the way, I should have mentioned. I said that Iona and Patino were on Run the Table Watch.
Mm-hmm.
They immediately lost by 23. Immediately to Quinnipiac, I think.
Right. Because
Yeah,
he's
so
throwing the season.
That was hilarious. That
He's
I was
throwing
like,
the season.
I
He
was
knows
like,
what he's doing.
folks, look out! Rick Pitino's about to go on a tear.
Mm.
Whoops. Number one on the fraud power rankings this week, Atheist. Jerome Tang. When asked about him being at Kansas State long term, Tate, his name's being floated for a lot of jobs. He's a hot coach right now, Tate. He's first year as a head coach, but he's
Right.
doing well enough that
Right.
people are getting excited.
Everybody wants some Tang, yeah.
His quote was, "If God wants me at K-State, this is where I'm going to be. If God wants me to move, if God wants to move me, that is where I'm going to go." So there you go. You think that coaches and agents and athletic directors and whoever else are controlling the coaching carousel? Wrong. It is God. And what's funny about that, Tate, the funny thing about him saying that God will move him where he wants to go is that I remember a song in the 90s that told me that God blessed Texas with his own hands, brought down angels from the promised land. Okay, you don't know what I'm talking about. You're not a country music guy, but I think that played with some of our audience.
I think they loved it.
I
loved it.
God bless Texas, dude.
God bless Texas.
Yeah. So makes you think. Did you see Kansas State security was practicing? I'm really worried
Kicking
about
fans out with
No,
signs?
they were practicing. They got Kansas on Tuesday. They got their next home game is Kansas on Tuesday, and the security is practicing in an empty gym, a court storm. Like what happens when we storm the court? That is San Diego State hanging a banner before the
Right.
season's over vibes.
That
times
is not
1,000,
good.
dude.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at
I
all.
don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all.
I will
But,
say if Texas does hire Jerome Tang, I mean that is going to be so interesting to see how that all plays out, you know.
Yeah.
Because Kansas State fans,
That's a situation we will be monitoring. For
he
sure.
needs to make the Final Four this year. Kansas State has to make the Final Four this year for that to work.
Penny Hardaway last year famously declared that God's got us. Memphis was 5-4 when he did that. They went 17-7 after that, Tate. Beat Alabama, beat Houston twice, swept Cincinnati and Wichita State, who weren't great, but still they are name brands, you know, in college basketball. Gave Gonzaga a good game in the tournament. So there's something to this, man. There's something to saying God's got and as I said earlier, when John Calipari had Jim Caviezel in his locker room and took the picture and said, "Good to have Jesus with us in our locker room, giving us a pep talk." That was the last time Kentucky basketball was likable, I think. So there's something to this.
Right. And God's plan, obviously.
God's plan, Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Drake's life. I mean, that doesn't make any sense in any world other than God got him.
God's got him. Yeah. There you go.
There you
go. Shout outs, closeouts.
Shout out to athletic director of the program, our guy, Craig Pittens, who is the AD of LMU. He famously was able to help us get some tickets to the Final Four last year. I made a little donation. I'm a booster of the
Can
Lions.
he get us tickets to the LMU Gonzaga game, though? That's the question.
He wants us to come. He's I tweeted I was watching their game the other week, and he was saying, "Please come. I need you guys in the building.
Justin
I need
Orange,
some juice."
Buckeye transfer, dude, at LMU.
Let's get in
Lighting
there.
It up for him.
Let's get in there. Let's get in there. So, well, anyways, he wrote an article that I guess is it's kind of like a wire for all the athletic directors talking about tournament expansion. And he gave a little shout out to the show. So, he basically said, as noted, the American existential philosophy poets, Titus and Tate, declared, whenever there is a question in college athletics, the answer is always, quote, money, duh. And the fact that a bunch of athletic directors saw this man quote us and read his article, because he is a very respected man in this profession. I love him to death. I appreciate him, and true friend of the program, spreading the propaganda. We love to see. Made me so happy. Couldn't believe it, but love it.
I'm still a little bitter he didn't give me an interview for LMU when the LMU job opened up, but that's okay. I'll get over it. Noted American existential philosophy.
Right. And we love Coach Stan Johnson. Good hire. Nice hire.
I just wanted an interview, dude. I just wanted my foot in the door. That's all I want. Any athletic directors listening, give me an interview. That's all I'm asking.
I want to be minister of conduct. I want to be what McConaughey is for any program in the country who wants me. I will bring the energy.
If I get an interview for a head coaching job, I'm just going to send in my Kurt Rambis audition tape.
Right.
I'm not even going to go to the meeting. I'm just going to send in the tape.
Right.
So this is all you need to know.
I'm going to send us shooting around in Lahaina Civic Center. It's like, do you know all these guys?
Speaking of outlets talking about us, I want to shout out Eric Hall of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, who here's the headline of an article.
He aggregated you, right?
I got aggregated.
Oh man.
Fox's Mark Titus says Illinois basketball is better without Sky Clark, who left the team. And I saw that, and I could only think one thing, Tate, when I saw that headline. I said that. I was like, did I
I think we both were just like, Jaden Epps, like his game.
Well, they are better without him. I mean, they're winning. The record speaks for itself. And there was a culture problem in Illinois' locker room, and I don't know if it was Sky Clark, but the early returns are saying it was. So
yeah, it's a Dawson Garcia theory. I mean, sometimes you got to get, even if they're talented, you just have to get them out of the building. And Sky Clark is a friend of the program. Came on our show, was supposed to commit, and did not. Just kind of was like, thanks for the interview. And we were like, wait, we got one more piece that we need. He's like, nah.
No, I'm not going to do that today, but I tell you what, good luck to you boys.
He's like, I got a top 10 coming out via Tipped and Edits. You boys can check that one out. So we still love Sky Clark. I hate you got aggregated, and I hope you didn't read that.
I'm okay with getting aggregated. It cracked me. I want to get aggregated. Right. This is what I'm in this profession for.
I feel like Fox Sports' Mark Titus would have helped with like the attack maybe.
It was more that it was something I said in passing under my breath, and
you never say from the aggregator.
Like if I get aggregated for yelling at Charleston, that plays. Like I'm not going to see that headline and be like, I said that Charleston's fraud. That's something I definitely said. I said that, but when I read this, I was like, did I actually argue that they're better without Sky Clark? And then Jim was like, yeah, I think you did. I think you said, now they left the team, they're going to be better. And I was like, oh, I guess I did. Yeah. All right. I guess now I got to defend that point strongly for the rest of the season.
I think that's how, guys like Nick Wright, like and Skip Bayless, they go home at night. They're like, I said that. Oh,
did I say that? All right.
I guess that's my identity now. I guess I'm going to have to argue that.
I'm going to double down. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with this. Shout out to former, I guess, Big Ten commissioner Kevin Warren going to the Chicago Bears. We are going to get a new commissioner.
The Bears.
My top candidates, because I know, because people are asking me, Tate. Jay Williams' voice. A lot of people are asking me. I gotta address this.
Who's your dream commissioner?
Who's my dream commissioner?
People keep asking you.
Number one on the list, Jay Williams. It is. It's Jay Williams.
I can't even make fun of Jay Williams in good faith because it's so ridiculous. It's not fair. It's an unfair
He's
fight.
somehow like he has takes. It's he thinks that he's he has takes that nobody agrees with. Like he
Right.
thinks he's like people that are shitting on Kyrie Irving, for example. And I don't know this to be true, but this would be this is something that I feel like would happen where Jay looks at the Kyrie Irving situation, we'll call it, and he taps Kyrie and he's like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you. Don't worry,
like, please,
don't
God,
worry, I
don't
got you." And then he
speak
goes in front of a camera and says some wild shit, and Kyrie's like, "What?
Well, yeah.
You don't have me. What the hell was that?
That's not.
That's not me.
Nope. Nope.
That's not me." And then the people that hate Kyrie are like, "Yeah, that's definitely like we hate that too." Or like whatever the hell.
Right.
That might not have been the greatest example, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's a situation that I feel like Jay's like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you." To guys that are in the crosshairs, and then the guy in the crosshairs is like, "You're not helping, dude. You're making this a lot worse.
Yeah.
Please stop."
No, there's a straight path, straight narrow path. There are people that want to zig. There's people that want to zag, and there's Jay Will, and he's not on the road. He's over here in the dirt, and he's driving. Everyone's like, "What the hell is that guy doing? What is this?"
It's like Jay Will's. It's like his talking points that he gets were like
Right.
constructed by AI or so, like not. I don't mean
It
Allen
kinda-
Iverson. I mean
like the
automated.
South Park when he has the manatees and they're making fun of Family Guy. And
Yes,
it's the three
it's
topics, and they put it
manatees. Yes, that's
together,
what I mean.
and they're like, "I guess we got to make an episode about that."
He wakes up every morning, reads his emails from the manatees, and is like, "All right, this is what I'm going to argue
Right,
today, I
right,
guess."
right.
Because no other person
Right.
is coming at it from.
Tony Romo should call golf.
Yeah.
That's Jay Williams' big take of the day.
Anyway, my top Big Ten commissioner candidates. Number 1, Condoleezza Rice. Duh, that's a no-brainer.
Duh.
No-brainer.
Duh.
With a bullet.
If they have enough money.
If they have money.
Right.
And if she can coach the Broncos and play quarterback for the Raiders.
Right.
And
I think
it.
she should coach Michigan if Harbaugh leaves.
Now we're getting into a conflict of interest. If she's coach of Michigan and Big Ten commissioner,
Whoa.
as a Buckeye, I'm going to raise my hand
You
and
don't
say,
like it.
I object.
You don't like it. You don't like it.
But no, she's number 1. I mean, that one's obvious. Number 2, also obvious, Tom Coverdale. Make him say no.
Right.
You just
At
have to
least
call
him.
him. You have to call him.
I think
You-
they should call
it
Larry
might be-
Bird, too.
That might be too. You might be aiming a little too high with that one, but I think you have to call him. You have to make him say no. Tom Coverdale is number 2 on my list. And number 3, I do actually think this guy you can get, but I think you have to call Condoleezza first. I think you have to call Tom Coverdale first.
George Bush.
Brad Stevens.
Okay.
I think you can get like Brad will say yes to the job, obviously, but you got to make Condoleezza and Tom Coverdale say no. So
I think Jim Phillips is the guy. In
it
fact,
probably will be Jim.
I will
Phillips.
drive Jim Phillips to the airport and let him fly up there and take the job.
I am worried if it's not Gene Smith though, that Gene Smith is going to just take the Buckeyes to the SEC. That if the Big Ten was smart, I know if the Big Ten was smart, they would say we have to appease Ohio State because Ohio State is like every time Fox tweets out that I saw Fox College Football tweet out the graphic of like national title winners in the BCS and college football playoff era, and it's just all sorts of teams from the South. It's the Pete Carroll SC teams that cheated their balls off, and then it's Ohio, and that's it. Chris, our director Chris is a USC guy. He's like, please don't say that about SC. But But we every time, I know Gene Smith is seeing this. I know he's seeing it, and he's like, "Wait a second, White, should we go to the SEC? Everyone shits all over every non-SEC. Is that the move? Should Ohio State just go to the SEC?"
That's what I was saying.
I think I think the way you don't do that is Gene becomes the Big Ten commissioner. And if he's not the Big Ten commissioner, if he wants it and doesn't get it, I'm worried he's gonna retaliate and be like, screw you
If
guys.
you want to make a
home.
deal with the South, go to the ACC. You know, we're more palatable. You'll have a space. We'll let you win games in football. We're not winning.
That's true.
anything.
That's true.
You can
That's
have
true.
it.
That's
Come
true.
on down. We'd love to have you. I want to shout out Bronny James. Speaking of Ohio State, Bronny James on Instagram. I feel like it's way too early in the season, but he had his senior night at Sierra Canyon. It's only January.
Wait,
12th.
what? We're
Yeah.
supposed to go to a game, dude.
That's what
I owe you a Bronny James game. What?
I'm very confused by this. He had his senior night, but he also put up on Instagram a picture that was basically like, stay sane, heart emoji. But in the background, it was an Ohio State Buckeye logo. And I told you, I know what they're doing. They're slow playing it. They're going to commit to Ohio State, especially if they go to the SEC. But they are going to commit to Ohio State.
But Ohio State doesn't have any scholarships unless there's like a freshman who wasn't supposed to be one and done that might be one and done now. That might leave and open up a scholarship, right?
Right. That'd be crazy.
But we don't have that, do we? Huh.
Interesting. But yeah,
Interesting.
Bronny James, I see the writing on the wall. I saw a lot of people talking about LeBron was holding his jersey at his senior night. I don't fault LeBron. That happens. Like that's fine. Parents can hold the kid's jersey. Shout out to Bronny. I like how parents can hold the kid's jersy. Let it be known.
New segment on the show is like LeBron did something, and then we just talk about whether it's okay for him to do this.
It was okay. It passed the test. I'm like, leave this man alone. And in a fight where I will point out when LeBron is doing things wrong, that is a fight you don't want to have. LeBron, you're fine there. I do feel like the Buckeyes are leading. I feel like the Buckeyes are the only team in on it. And the only thing that scares me is if Chris Holtmann goes to Kentucky. If Chris Holtmann goes to Kentucky, then Bronny James is also going to Kentucky.
I just you saying Bronny to Ohio State, I just refreshed KenPom. We jumped up 2 more spots.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we're 8th now.
Nice.
How about that?
Congratulations.
I want to shout out Jose Perez, waiver denied at West Virginia. It's wrong. It's bullshit. Speak your name, Jose. Mm-hmm. It's an injustice. Also, Cam Spencer, game winner at Northwestern. This Rutgers kid, I don't know how much Rutgers basketball you're watching, Tate. Actually, that's not true. I know you're watching Rutgers basketball. Hit the game winner at Purdue, hit the game winner at Northwestern.
Felt bad for Northwestern, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. Northwestern's got a great team. I mean, a great Northwestern team.
Yeah.
A great Northwestern team.
There you go.
Great Northwestern team.
Yeah, there you go.
They have at-large aspirations, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel bad in that regard, but we're happy for Rutgers. And
I like Rutgers.
Cam Spencer, we speak your name. Speaking of Big Ten team or schools in Chicago, I don't know. Segue to this. Chicago State football might be happening. Shout out Chicago State.
Yeah.
Do I want to coach Chicago State football? Yes, I do.
So does Condoleezza Rice, though.
Damn it.
She's up for every job. She's the top candidate. I think Condoleezza Rice's phone is just filled with texts and phone calls and voicemails, and it's just different jobs opening up in college sports. And they're like, we got to make Condoleezza say no. I know who the first call is. It's Condoleezza.
Make her say no, no. Condoleezza. Okay.
That's it.
What else? NFL playoffs on Saturday. Who you got? Start on Saturday. This Saturday.
Wild card weekend is going to be wild. I will say this:
No.
the Cowboys being favored at the Buccaneers has my interest. Because I think I said this to you. Did I say this to you? If you gave me that at the start of the season and you said Cowboys at Bucks playoffs, what's the line? I'm like Bucks, minus 13.5.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I'm saying there's a lot of football that's been played in between there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It is. I would not be shocked if Tom Brady wins this game.
This is no matter what happens, this is a game that all the football writers are going to say, duh.
Of course.
Everyone
saw this.
Everyone saw
the
this
Cowboys
coming.
ran them out of the building. The Bucks suck. They shouldn't even been in the playoffs. They were in the worst division all year. They win. It's Tom Brady. Who else?
Yeah.
Who else?
You have Tom Brady versus the underachieving Cowboys who always choke.
With Mike McCarthy as a coach? Get out of here.
Duh. So there you go. We just wrote both stories.
I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm just saying it has my interest. I will be watching that because, and the idea that Tom Brady's already out of town. I saw Coward this morning. He was like the Buccaneers. He's like, they're going to the swamp. Brady's gone. I'm like, is that true? Is that already just determined?
Where's Brady going?
I guess he's going to Vegas or.
I thought he signed with Fox. Is he taking?
He's going to Fox.
Masked Singer.
Masked Singer. When do those episodes come out?
Going.
When do the Tom Brady Masked Singer episodes come out? Do we know?
Soon.
Okay.
Soon. Also, shout out to my Chargers at the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a game where everyone's going to be on the Chargers, but
Jacksonville's going to win that
I
game.
think Jacksonville's going to win, yeah. Hate to say it. But
Tate's
fingers
Chargers.
crossed.
Are you going to the game, Tate?
It's in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you're more likely
you're more likely
to go to that than the Chargers.
What does that matter?
If the Chargers win, I'll be fired up.
Bills are probably the America's team, right?
I think
the
so.
Team everyone's cheering for. DeMar Hamlin.
Right.
Plus,
I think
they haven't got over the hump anyway. And
plus
Josh
the
Allen's
Dolphins.
likable
Who's
in
starting for the Dolphins? Someone that I don't even know. So I mean,
Condoleezza Rice.
It's Condoleezza Rice. Yeah. So the Bills should win that
I pulled this stat. I want to send IU fans out on a high note. I pulled this stat because Indiana's next game is against Wisconsin. Indiana has lost 24 of the last 27 games against Wisconsin. 24 out of 27. Their 3 wins were this, Tate. They won by 2 in double overtime in 2019. They won by 1 in 2016, and they won by 3 in 2014. Those are their 3. They've lost 24 of 27 against Wisconsin, and they've lost in the 3 wins. They barely won. The last time they won by multiple possessions against Wisconsin. The last time the Indiana Hoosiers beat Wisconsin by more than 1 bucket was January 31st, 2007, when they beat number 2 Wisconsin. Funny enough, when Wisconsin had one of their best teams ever. Kelvin Sampson was the coach. That's how long ago it was. So
I think
Anyway.
IU should hire Kelvin Sampson.
I saw that stat and I said, "Woof." My dad's having, he's on the mend. Everyone's asking like when he's coming on the show. He's on the mend right now, from his health problems, and Indiana basketball is making the recovery a lot longer than.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't either.
I just
don't
think
either.
I think it might be time.
They're going to beat Purdue and they're going to be back, and then everyone's
Right.
going to pretend like this last stretch of 12 games hasn't happened, and it's same old story. And then they're going to get into the tournament. They'll lose in the second round, probably the first round.
Then all the guys will come back.
Then all the guys will
and
come
we're
back.
like preseason number 1.
Yeah.
Right.
And Trace Jackson Davis is back somehow, and you're like, you're talking yourself into it, and you're like, is this guy ever going to get a right hander or a jump shot? No, but he averaged 19 and 9 last year. So
he seems like a great kid.
Seems like a
nice
great
guy.
kid.
He's a good guy. He honestly, he might end up being one of the good guys of the year.
Yeah,
he might
that
be
whole
nominated.
team is. You have to say they're good guys, because if you say anything else, they'll attack you on Twitter.
Log off.
Okay, that's the show.
Log off.
See you guys. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the playoffs, the college basketball, that kind of stuff. We'll see you on the other side.
Thanks.